according to the map or plat thereof recorded in volume 20002, page 75, deed and plat records of Bear County, Texas, for the proposed removal of 2 oak trees and 1 elm tree for access to an undeveloped lot for the future construction of a new residence. Discussion and possible action application submitted by Zach Zurich, 218 Hibiscus, Lot C, Block 5, Lewis Subdivision 2, according to the map or plat thereof recorded in volume 20002, page 75, deed and plat records of Bear County, Texas, for the proposed removal of 2 oak trees and 1 elm tree for access to an undeveloped lot for future construction of a new residence. It sounded like the same one as the previous paragraph.
And
Okay.
Commissioner, excuse me, the first one is the public hearing.
Right.
So are you you need
Right.
to,
So this will be the initially will be the public hearing. Now, Zena, does the applicant make the presentation first before
No.
we have the public hearing?
announce the time and then allow the public to say, have their moment to speak to
Now, will
the,
he speak before the applicant, or will the applicant be able to show their presentation first?
the citizens should be able to be heard first during the public
Okay.
hearing.
Okay.
And then Mr. Zurich can present his hearing, if you so desire, after the public hearing or during his agenda item where the board will consider the action.
Got it. Okay, thank you. This is the first meeting that I've been in person, and so it's a little bit off for me. I've got 2 applicants that have signed up to speak. One is, and the first one would be Kevin Canepa.
From it. Time out. Chairman, can you open the public meeting and announce the time?
All right, you're right, right. I'm going to open the public meeting. It is 7:06 p.m. And we are ready for the public to voice.
Chairman, it's your, Chairman, you can defer to either hear citizens or hear the applicant first. whichever.
I'd like,
You can defer to hear the applicant first or the citizens first.
I would prefer, for the sake of the audience and the board, that the applicant go first at presenting his application. Mr. Zurich.
Good evening, Chairman, members of the committee. I appreciate your time this evening. I'll be brief. I'm here tonight asking approval for the removal of 3 trees that are located on the flagpole section of the flagpole lot that is before you. The approval I'm seeking is principally under section 4855, tree removal or tree approval authority, subsection 1. Trees so located as to prevent access to the property or as to preclude reasonable and lawful use of the property. Mine is very much within the former part of that clause. To have access to my flagpole lot, I need to be able to drive down it. And so that's why I'm here tonight asking for the removal of these 3 trees. I've spent a lot of time myself out at the lot with other folks and an arborist and everything else like that. And these are the 3 that I've determined really have to go. 2 of the trees, per an arborist report, have a deteriorating health condition, which essentially means the tree is probably on its way out anyway. The elm that's number 51, if you turn to page 15 of your packet, I think that's probably the most useful graphic that you're going to see. It has a picture of the tree survey with the relevant trees highlighted. Tree number 51 is the elm. And that one, there was no indication or finding by the arborist regarding any issues with respect to the health of the tree. However, as you will see, the entrance into this particular lot is 20 feet wide. And it essentially is the entrance to the lot comes really at a right angle from Hibiscus Lane. There's no round cul-de-sac at the end of Hibiscus Lane. It's a fairly sharp turn onto this particular run. And so because of it, I've done little test approaches from my my vehicle myself. And I'm telling you, it's not going to be possible for me to get onto this run without the removal of number 51. And I believe because of the authority you're vested with and the good cause shown by 4855 subsection 1, trees so located to prevent access to the property, I believe that there is good cause shown. And so I would request approval there. 56 and 59, the tree survey, I'll tell you, looks pretty clustered together. I mean, of course, this is going to be a bit distorted in scale, but it's when you bring yourself to the edge of the lot where the actual section of the lot where it widens up, and you stand from the perspective of, if you're looking at the page and you're where the lot widens up and you look down, you can see exactly why these 3 trees are highlighted for the removal. It really provides the clearest path onto the property without affecting the vast majority of the trees that are within this run. Clearly part of the reason I'm interested in this lot is the beauty of this neighborhood. Really don't want to remove any trees. But I've got to be able to get to the house that I'd like to build upon this lot too. So anyway, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have, but again, I appreciate your time and consideration.
I believe we'll move into the public hearing now and allow the folks that have signed up to speak,
Thank you.
if they'll come up. Thank you very much. Kevin?
And thank you for going ahead and letting him present it first, because it enlightens y'all and gives us more details. I want to thank you very much for letting me be heard at this time. My name is Kevin Knippa, and I live on 210 Hibiscus. And I know y'all aren't going to answer me, but has anybody in this board gone out to look at the property at all? Have you walked the property?
No.
Have you looked at it so you have an ideal in your minds? Okay, well, the reason I bring that up is that I approve of him moving in, and I understand he wants to remove these trees, and I would love to have him as a neighbor. He's very nice. I met his wife and his young child, so I welcome him in the neighborhood. But this problem wouldn't come up when that property was being split up, if the Architecture Review Committee had asked hard question of the developer, where are the driveways going to be? See, these problems keep coming up, and that's why I'm here speaking. These problems keep, it convenes the heck out of him, and you have to talk about it. If the Architecture Review Committee, when even ever wants to cut land up over there, that was about almost a 2-acre or more lot, the person that's going to split it up needs to figure out where his egress is going to be and where his driveway is going to be and access the properties, or this wouldn't continue to happen. Now, here we are going to remove 3 trees. The elm tree is extremely healthy, but I understand it has to be removed for a driveway. The other 2 trees, well, oak trees always look a little bad sometime. And it's just, we're having to go through this procedure. So I'd like for him to have him as a neighbor. I understand. I hate to see the trees go. Boy, I hate to see any trees go, because I noticed in Castle Hills and over there on Hibiscus, where I'm living now, trees are being knocked down right and left, oak trees all the time. And we need to, you as Architectural Review Committee need to really ask hard questions, or you need to prompt the city council to figure out a way to stop this from happening in further times, because the inconvenience is everybody. He bought a lot in good faith, and then he finds out, how am I going to get into it? And that's not helpful for the community and for the city. And if people had planned this a little bit better, things could be moved over a few feet here, and then we wouldn't have to worry about taking any trees out. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Quentin Bellar, is it?
Good evening, Quentin Baker. I live at 213 Hibiscus, and we also own 220 Hibiscus, which is the lot that immediately adjoins Mr. Zerk's 218 lot. I'm here actually to speak in favor of Mr. Zerk's petition. Unfortunately, the way David Lewis platted that lot, he couldn't have picked a worse spot to put the driveway into Mr. Zerk's lot. There's a nice grove of trees, some of which are dead in the middle of the flagged lot driveway and some of which border it too close to put in a driveway. Mr. Zurich and I are working to cure part of that. He's only asking to remove 3 trees. He and I are going to do a deal where I sell him a little slice off of our 220 lot so he can swing his driveway around most of those trees. So what you don't hear is we're saving as many as we can. The 2 oaks that he needs to take out are in poor health. We walked the lot. He has his tree survey. And really they are near end of life. So they're not a big loss. And that elm right at the entrance to his lot is a beautiful elm. There's just nowhere else to put the entrance to his lot. On our 220 lot, we have a very narrow entrance on the hibiscus as well. And we just don't have enough land over there to shift his driveway over. So unfortunately, those 3 trees are the necessity in order for Mr. Zurich to have his driveway. But also please understand, we're moving his driveway over a bit to save the rest of them. So we're doing everything we can to keep the beauty of the neighborhood. So I'd ask you to approve this petition. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, you've already spoken. I believe you've spoken your 3 minutes. Thank you. Thank you very much. I believe that's all we've got under signed up applicants. I would like to close the public hearing at 7:16 p.m. and open the floor for discussion with the board.
Actually, Chairman, I would open up 5.2, discussion and action on the application.
I didn't hear that.
I would open up 5.2 for discussion and possible action.
All right, let me see that. Yes, okay. This is that's why they were a duplication, because one was the public and one was for the committee. So yes, as of 7:16 p.m., we're going to open up section 5.2 for discussion and possible action by our committee. Anyone have any comments to make?
Did that need a motion or is it just open for discussion?
Yes, make a motion for.
I make a motion to open for discussion. 5.2.
Second, anyone? Now, does anyone have some comments to make? Pardon? On the discussion? Okay, that's right. Yes, I'd like to take a vote on with the first and second to continue the discussion by the committee. We have a vote, unanimous. Everyone in favor? Okay, sorry. So I'll let any of our members speak if they'd like to and recognize Ms. Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Middleman. Yes, I was looking at this and reading the arborist report. I give a lot of credence to our arborists, particularly when you have them come out and look at your trees. And so I was curious to know why only 2 on the list that the arborist suggested being removed were being asked to be removed. And I think Mr. Baker clarified that you have an understanding with him that, because that was my only concern. If you have an arborist saying that there are 6 trees that are being recommended to be removed, I start getting iffy when I hear fungus. Was it identified as oak wilt or was it just a fungus within the base of the tree? Did they identify the type of fungus?
No, yeah, no. As far as I understand, there was no concern of oak wilt. This was in terms of the type of fungus. I really can't tell you.
Just a growth that was
That's right.
undermining the.
Yeah, and in
stability.
terms of Mr. Baker's comments, I mean, part of me not bringing it up, I wasn't sure, his comfort level in terms of sharing that. But yeah, I mean, clearly that's part of what we're trying to do here is to save as many of the trees on the property as possible. And in terms of addressing those that are on the arborist report, you know, I will visit with the arborist more so about those if there's any that are problematic or of concern in terms of affecting other trees. I will certainly, you know, be sure I'm taking action and going through the right procedures to do so. But largely the reason for leaving those and, you know, except for the 3 that are subject is really trying, like I said, to keep as many in place as possible.
That was one thing I was really curious about,
Sure.
is why you were only asking for 2 of the 6 on the arborist report. Because like I said, I take arborists pretty seriously. We love our trees here, but we want to make sure they're healthy. And if they're not, so you will keep an eye on those
Oh,
and make sure they're
certainly.
not going to become additional issue for you or your property as you become hopefully welcome to Castle Hills, you know, so. That was the only questions I had, was why only 2 out of the 6 that were, you know, suggested to be removed, that you're only going to take out 2. That was the only question I had. And yeah, driving by, I saw the elm and how difficult it could be to maneuver within that corridor. So I understand, made the pictures a lot clearer when you look at it in person.
Absolutely.
So thank you. That was the only questions I had for
Okay.
you. Why only 2 out of the 6?
Thank you very much.
Any other comments by any of
Miss-
the other committee members?
Yes, I do. Mr. Zurich, have you all thought about or talked about replacing the trees? The ones that will be cut down?
Well, we wouldn't be putting them back.
Well, not in the same
Right.
position.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. In terms of adding, I don't know necessarily whether it would be specifically within the run into the property. But in terms of adding, you know, additional trees to the property as a whole, certainly we want to have as many trees out there as we can. And so, you know, I would say the answer is yes, subject to, of course, our ability to get in and out of the
Right.
property. And, you know, the eventual site plan of the house. So,
Thank you.
sure.
I have a few comments. First of all, being an architect, I'm very, very familiar with flag lots, because technically, for any lot to have an address on a street, it has to have a minimum of 20-foot frontage in order to assume that address. The other thing I want to comment on is a flag lot normally is along the property line, because otherwise it divides the property owner in front and makes his less developable. So I understand the reason for the flag lot. One question I had was, did you already purchase the lot? Did you have any apprehension about buying this lot, knowing that there was going to be some discrepancy relative to preserving trees within this driveway?
To tell you the truth, we had the plat of the 3 lots, right? In terms of understanding specifically where the trees were in respect to the actual lot, that is a piece of information that I didn't have. You know, hindsight's 2020. Looking back, potentially, you know, getting a tree survey before purchasing the property could have been prudent. But at the time, it's the type of thing you're trying your best with to use a plat with what you have and kind of get an understanding of where the trees are. And so, no, I really didn't have a strong sense of, you know, where the trees might be relative to the particular entrance. I figured that, you know, we might run into having to negotiate around some of them, but in terms of, you know, requiring the removal, no, I can't say I was certain about that.
Well, I would say that it was very, very accommodating for Mr. Baker to provide you a little bit of flexibility through that driveway. And I would have to say that saving 17 out of 20 trees technically is very commendable. And I think that you've done your job at trying to protect all that you can and maintain the integrity of the property in the best way that you saw fit and the best way that you could manage it. So I don't think there's enough trees removed personally to merit having to mitigate just those 3 trees when he's saving 17 trees. I think he's more than satisfied the percentage of trees that would best be preserved on his property. Any other comments?
No, I was going to ask if I could make a motion.
Okay, please do.
I would like to make a motion to accept Mr. Zurich's application and approve the removal of the 3 trees he's requesting.
Second. All in favor? That-
And Chairman, this will be presented to City Council tomorrow night
Good.
with y'all's recommendation.
Fine. Well, we need to be there to present it. Or is the it's suitable as long as they know we've got unanimous approval?
I think as long as they know that the outcome and recommendation by y'all as the ARC, and then, of course, Mr. Zurich being there to discuss his application and present to City Council as well.
Well, I think so. That's great. Mr. Zurich, we welcome you to Castle Hills if you're not already there. And we hope
Yeah.
you'll be,
I actually do currently live in Castle
do
Hills.
you?
I'm in the South Cone off of Riviera.
okay,
So-
okay. Well, we welcome your new home.
Sure.
And hope that you'll design it in good taste. And with that, I'd like to ask someone to make a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
A vote on adjournment? Okay, we are officially adjourning our meeting at 7:26 PM. Congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.